Are you saying you faked with me?
Yeah.
I just had sex, and it felt so good.
Wrong. Now you're single.
What do you know about sexual relations?
Is it true that if you don't use it, you lose it?
I'm a little worried about being a slut.
You're listening to the Come With Us podcast, presented by Darling Way, talking the good, the kinky, and the ugly. Here are your hosts, Beth, Aaron, and Tina.
Hello, hello, my darling friends. It's another episode of Come With Us podcast, and today we have been listening. We know y'all have questions. So today's topic is what men want to know from women. Oh my goodness, we have so many questions, so many answers. We're going to just have to try and run through all of this. But I'm Beth Darling, your sexy genius. I am here with Aaron, the brave and bold, who talks about himself in a way that most men are not willing to do with their lover, let alone the public. So yay, Aaron. And of course, the amazing and beautiful Tina, who is just, I never know what's going to come out of her mouth. Or what's going to go in her mouth, quite frankly, one way or the other. This is amazing. These are the conversations that I wish everybody had every day. But hey, at least now you just joined our conversation, and we love having these. So glad you're here. Let's talk about how we can, what questions we can answer and how we can make your loving dreams come true.
All right. Well, so yeah, you asked, we listen. And again, if you have any questions that we haven't covered or you want us to go more in depth or anything like that, you can always get with us. Facebook is at Come With Us Podcast. Same on Instagram at Come With Us Podcast. Twitter at Come With Us Pod. DMs are open on all three. Or you can just email us, as a lot of these questions came in from comewithusconfessions@gmail.com. That's the easiest way to get a hold of us. There's several ways. Like I said, questions, comments, concerns. If you like what we're talking about, cool, let us know. But are you two both ready to jump down this and avoid as many rabbit holes as possible? Because that's not going to happen. But all
Tina
right.
and I get to be the experts because this is about what men want to know from women.
Yeah, and we'll have some extras just down at the, towards the end of it. We'll get to just some general thoughts and questions and tips. All right, number one. Do women care if I'm uncircumcised or not?
Okay. This is a pretty good question. I actually pondered this myself recently. I have never cared.
Can you imagine on dating apps, by the way, if they said circumcised or uncircumcised? Would that
There's
matter?
got to be one out there that does.
I'm sure there is some.
I mean,
place,
if you
but
go
I
on
don't know.
like J-Date, you got to think that like probably 99% of people on there are circumcised.
J-Date is Jewish dating, by the way.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you, because I didn't know that.
Right, a lot of
okay.
people don't.
So I have never particularly cared.
Have you been with both?
Yes.
Yeah, me too.
So, and I think it's also, I know if most men probably know this, but women generally, like, you can't tell the difference when a dude is hard. I mean, it's harder. It's much harder to tell the difference. Get it? Ha.
Yeah.
So, like, it's something that you would only notice if you on like mostly like a flaccid dick, or like you would really like see like the difference, I would say, on a flaccid dick. But like generally, I mean, again, like I told this pre-show, like I did read this article in Cosmo. Holler, still read Cosmo. Whatever, get off my back.
Yeah.
Let me live. They said they had a whole article about this, and they were talking about how basically like in the US and around the world, less and less guys are getting circumcised, and what like does it, they were talking about sex with a circumcised or uncircumcised dick, and they said that like for men it can feel better if you're uncircumcised because of the extra flap of skin, but for women too,
it's because in the skin they cut off, there are nerve endings, and guys have about 4,000 nerve endings in their cock. Well, we have 8,000 in our clit, so we win already. But if you then start cutting off some of those 4,000 nerve endings, it's like, hey, what are you doing? Taking away my pleasure.
Yeah, but then I learned for women too it can also be a different sensation.
Oh.
So, and I asked this guy I'm seeing, like I did, and I was like, do you like, what does that extra flap of skin, like, does it make a difference? And he said like generally when you're giving head or when you're giving hand job, he likes it when it's like just below the base, right? Like, or below the head or something like that, right there, because he says it feels the best when it's like positioned there.
When the extra skin.
Yeah, when the extra skin.
Oh,
yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah. So I think that people, I think there's this weird perception like, oh, it's just weird. I think only until you see it and then you realize, oh, it's just nothing. So, I mean, it's just, yeah.
I would implore a lot of women to be able to tell the difference, especially on a hard dick, but yeah, I just don't think it makes a difference. I would categorize this one as like nothing to worry about. Really.
Nothing to worry about, and just tell her, oh, if you haven't seen one, let me pop your cherry this way.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. Number 2, why won't she let me go down on her?
Oh, this happens so often. And okay, there are several reasons that a woman might not want a guy to go down on her. Now, if they're new, or if it's really a dating situation, I will tell you that a lot of times it is that she didn't quite shave, or she doesn't feel fresh enough, i.e. she's worried that she's not going to look as good, or taste as good, or smell as good as she wants to. And so she's shy. That I think happens on a regular basis. Whether somebody's been with somebody just a minute or two, or sometimes even a long time, if they got pussy insecurity, which almost every woman does. So that's the first one. So sometimes you could just say, oh, do you want to shower first? Or can I shower you and wash you and then go down on you? Sometimes that will help. But sometimes maybe you're not as good at it as she would like, in which case there are a lot of women who don't expect to be fully satisfied, i.e. they don't necessarily expect to enjoy it as much as they want, or to get to an orgasm if that's what they want. And therefore, they'd almost rather you not start, so that they don't have to pretend, they don't have to take care of your feelings, they don't have to say, oh, you're so good at this, when actually they're like, I'd really either figure it out or don't do it, and let's do something else. So I think there is that, right? Haven't you turned down, Tina, people if you just thought that they weren't very good at it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you weren't good at it, the insecurity one, I would say, is the number one for sure. And then I think you can always mask that by saying like, oh, I don't like it, or it doesn't. I mean, certainly sometimes it, I would say it's the longest way. For me, it takes the longest to get off doing that.
Okay. And usually with somebody who's good, most women, it would be the opposite.
Okay.
Just FYI. Again, because only 25% of women actually orgasm from penetration without other stimulation. Well, oral sex on a woman should actually provide the most direct, since only 25% of women regularly orgasm from penetration. Or oral sex or cunnilingus on a woman provides the most direct stimulation to the clitoris, and usually provides the most direct access to an orgasm for women when it's done properly. But a lot of women will be hesitant, again, because of their own insecurities, or they might be afraid that it's going to take too long, and they don't want to, quote, put somebody out. They don't want to feel like, oh, if I don't orgasm really quickly, they're not going to want to do this or something, and all sorts of reasons. So that is when I would say you really want to work with your partner, because if it's more than just a hookup, if it's just a hookup and whatever, that's her loss, move on. But if this is a regular partner for you, if this is your spouse or otherwise committed, you definitely want to start talking about why she doesn't want you to go down, and start asking about what she likes the most about it when you do go down, or what she would want more of. Don't say, oh, just am I good? Because that's only about you and not going to get any particular feedback. But also you can go to sexyedschool.com, because that's why I did the classes. My 2 top live classes used to be How to Blow His Mind While Loving His Body and The Art of Orally Pleasuring Her. And I then, because of COVID, put them online. You can go to sexyedschool.com, get the video, watch it at home, in the privacy of your own home, at your own pace, with your partner or not. And I promise you'll start getting some answers, because oral sex actually matters. And the more it goes back and forth mutually in a relationship, the happier the relationship is.
Did you mention there's a promo code for that, right?
Oh, I totally forgot. Yes, thank you. What is it?
Come with us.
Thank you. Yes, use the
what
promo
you're listening
code.
to right now. Come with us.
Come with us, and you'll get $50 off. I think anything except there's a prostate massage one. I think that one's not it. So, but yeah, use promo code Come With Us. And if there's any questions, you can email us, info@sexyedschool.com, and we'll be happy to walk you through.
Okay.
But those classes should help, because every woman should enjoy a man going down on her, or a woman going down on her.
So we're going to call this section this one's going to be 2A for women who insist that their guy clean up after going down on them before, say you're going down on a woman before the actual sex as foreplay, and she wants you to clean up because she doesn't want to smell or taste herself on you when you're face to face.
Oh, that's
does that
so
not
sad.
ruin the mood?
Yeah, I think there is something. I mean, again, I want to appreciate that we all are where we are in our journeys. And God knows I was so uptight and prude and everything and shy and nervous for so long. So without any disrespect, I would simply say that women, if you've got a woman who's worried about tasting herself on you, strongly encourage you to tell her how good she tastes and how much you enjoy tasting her. And that just ask and do little baby steps and just say, well, how about if I just kiss you on the lips? No tongue, but just can you smell? Because I love the scent of you. Because all of us should love our own scent and our own taste. It just should be, it's a matter of shame if we think, oh, that has to be washed off before something else. And I don't want that for men or for women.
Okay, fair enough. All right, let's keep going. If she's not in the mood, should I tell her if I've gone and jerked off? Because, well, she wasn't in the mood. This thing ain't going anywhere on its own.
Okay. Well, so Tina, you're probably almost always in the mood. So you've never had that issue.
I cannot relate.
Okay. So Aaron, well, tell me, so what have you done?
It just depends. There's times where from the time my wife and I started dating, it was always if you do, you can tell me. It's like, we don't get upset with the other one if they did. Like, if you tell me, cool. Like, if she tells me, of course, because I'm a guy, I'm like, that's fucking hot.
Oh, I love that she tells you when she masturbates. And self-pleasure's good.
If she tells, if I tell her, I don't know exactly what's going on 100% in her mind, but she's not, she's never been upset about it or anything like that. But at the same time, there are times where I've done it and just never told her because, well, I was busy or I just didn't really care about telling. Not that I didn't care about telling her, it's just...
Okay, so it's not important one way or the other. It's something you can share. It'd be interesting to know sometime if you share with her, does it turn her on? And sometimes maybe I would ask her about that. If I tell you about when I'm jerking off and stuff, would that turn you on? Even if it doesn't lead to her wanting to have sexy right then. It's just kind of interesting, and that would be a good response. And maybe that's how I would say for other people, how to approach it, is to ask your partner. I think it's really important to know that just like no matter how much you love each other, respect each other, and you want to be intimate in so many different ways, sexy and an orgasm is like food. We're not always hungry at the same time. And just because you want to eat 5 times a day doesn't mean I'm going to want to eat or should. So it just, everybody's going to have their own cycle, if you will, and their own turn-ons. And I think that's okay. And you have to appreciate and respect that. That's 2 individuals in one relationship. Are still going to be 2 different ways. But so then talk to your partner and say, oh, well, do you want to know? Or, God, you turn me on so much, I can't handle it. Do you want me to go in the bathroom and jerk off? Or do you want me just to sit here and let you kind of watch me? Or what can I do? Because somebody pleasuring themselves can be a turn on to somebody else. And there's a power and some fun in that. So I suggest that you talk and then figure it out. But it should not be. If it is a huge secret, if it feels like there's some shame in it, that is not cool. And by the way, let me flip that around. Sometimes women, and I don't know if that's one of the questions we put on this list, but I know I saw someplace that if you're a guy with a woman and the woman, even though you're having sexy fun together, but she still self-pleasures, men are like, oh, is that bad? Does that mean I'm not doing something right? And I was like, no. You should just hear about that. It's nice that you know, and then appreciate and use it to fuel your own fantasies and move on. But a woman, the more often she orgasms and the more sensual and sexual she is on a regular basis, the more she wants it. So I think that's always a good sign.
Okay.
Yep. I would agree.
Yeah, I was going to say, and Tina, that you do, right? No matter how involved and how happy you are in relationship, you always are playing with yourself and pleasuring, right?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Big part, I think, of just having a good, healthy sex life.
Yeah, right.
I
And
think.
keeping that libido. Right.
It has zero to do with the fact that your partner isn't like maybe not getting you there or you need something else. No. Well,
right.
like,
that would be an issue. That's an issue. That's right.
Yeah.
And that's separate and distinct from just somebody having a happy, healthy, intimate, sexy life.
Which we covered a couple episodes ago.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, on finishing her off when, if you're not getting the job done, this is how you need to do it.
There you go.
But yeah. So masturbation when, libido timing doesn't match up, just something to talk about.
Yeah.
Ask.
Yes. Yeah.
Don't hide it.
Right. And go back and listen to because May was masturbation month. So we did a whole show on self-pleasure and masturbation. So
That
go
too.
check that out. Yeah.
All right. As a guy, I know there's other guys who are going, okay, when are they getting to this stuff? Why doesn't she like going down on me?
Oh, that's that old, only 28% of women enjoy giving blowjobs. Isn't that awful?
well, here's the thing. I would say, because I am curious about this. Obviously, we have different opinions. I did ask. I was with some friends this week and stuff, and I asked most of the girls, do they like giving blowjobs? And I would say categorically, almost all of them said no.
Really?
Yeah. So I think that there is.
That surprises me because one, you're hanging out with people in their late 20s.
Right.
All like sexually open-minded,
Absolutely.
adventurous women.
Yeah.
And those are the ones I would have thought would have said yes.
So
that's
and
astonishing.
here's what I think is like the issue is I think that there's a big disconnect between giving head and I think knowing how you can enjoy giving head.
Good point.
So, and I think that especially with younger people, maybe, or people who are, I think that there's this like kind of stigma around figuring out how to give yourself pleasure while someone is giving you head while you're giving head.
Oh, that's interesting. So these are women probably then they're giving blowjobs.
Yeah.
They're just not really enjoying it very much.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yes.
Yeah, they're not holding out on the head. Like one girlfriend I talked about, I mean, it was funny in respect of the conversation we were drinking, but she's like, I dislike it so much that I tell my guy, like, you have 2 minutes. Like, I'll do it, but you have 2 minutes. Like, if you come, that's fine. If you enjoy it, that's fine. But like, since I don't like it, like, that's it. That's all you have. That's the ultimatum. I'm like, well, that's kind of like, to me, look, is it my favorite absolute thing to do in bed? No, it's not. Like, it's not my, like, but do I like it? Yeah. Is it taking, like, a lot of practice to like it? Absolutely. I think you also start enjoying it more when you know, like, this may be a little bit, like, merit-based, but you know, like, you're doing a better job. When you're kind of, like, perfecting the skill and you know that it's feeling better, like, it's making him feel better, like, it's...
Right. You have more confidence. I think confidence we always enjoy.
And I think every girl would like to like give good head.
Yes. Yes.
Like no, like it's I'm not saying it's like a bragging right, but it kind of is. Like if you're really good at head, like you're kind of like, I don't know.
So I don't know about that because I am really good at giving blowjobs, which is why I teach how to blow his mind while loving his body. And people have asked me all the time, like, what gives you the authority to teach this class? Well, it's funny because, I'm 50-something years old. I feel uncomfortable saying, well, because I give a really fucking good head. And because I've done this enough and I've gotten enough feedback that I know this is unusual. That's why I started the class. Mm-hmm. So it's weird. It's not actually, for me, bragging rights because there's some women don't necessarily... Or some of us don't feel comfortable bragging about how good we are at this kind of thing because it sounds so, I don't know. But I'm glad. I would love everybody to have more confidence. I think the problem is in fact, I was talking to some men this week and that one guy was telling me he only gets a blowjob from his wife on his birthday.
That's crazy.
Right? And then sometimes she's like, oh, like she so clearly doesn't want to do it that he's like, forget it. I don't want it. I don't want that begrudging blowjob. And so I think that's what happens if women don't enjoy giving it. They might do it sometimes when you're dating. But then once you've been together long enough, if they're not enjoying it, they're not going to do it.
Attitude makes a huge difference.
So again, go to sexyedschool.com. I swear, go to sexyedschool.com. Go check out the how to blow his mind while loving his body. And then if you're with a partner, I know you're not going to want to make it seem like it's just her servicing you. So that's why there's a 2-for class where you get the art of orally pleasuring her as well as the blowjob class. So it's his and her. It's equal. You can buy that and you can watch both of them together with your partner. You can talk about it. You might realize what her hangups have been. She might hopefully find, like so many of my clients have, found answers in there, found confidence in there, and found different ways to do it in a way that feels powerful. Because my first rule to women is don't ever give a blowjob you don't want to do. Don't fake an orgasm. Don't fake a blowjob. But that's what y'all have gotten, mostly men. Sorry, is again, 28% of women are the only ones who like giving blowjobs. I promise you, you've gotten some women doing it who don't want to, and then they'll stop after too long. So why doesn't she like going down on you? All sorts of things. She feels bad. She feels like she doesn't matter. She feels disrespected. She doesn't know what she's doing. She thinks it's only about you, which is not the way it should be. All of these answers. And along with that is, then the next question is, why won't she let me come in her mouth? Well, the same way she doesn't want to taste her taste, the same way she's just nervous about if she farts or squeaks or makes any noise or squirts. Like, we all have hangups. We just need to get past them if we want to love well, because those hangups really stop us from loving and connecting well. So go there, but just know if you're not getting as many blowjobs as you want and you're not going down often, that affects your relationship. And go check out that 2-for. Use the Come With Us promo code.
Yep.
You'll get $50 off. And I swear I'll do a money back guarantee. If you watch those and you don't find that it makes a difference, you just let me know and I'll refund your money. Tell me why. Tell me why it didn't work. Tell me what happened. But I promise you, they've worked for so many different people and they've made a difference. And I think everybody should be going down all the time, happily, joyfully.
I mean, all the time. Some people have jobs.
Okay, not then, but on a regular basis. And
that's some people's jobs too.
That is some people's jobs, right? But research shows that if there's more going down, his and her, it's got to be mutual, got to be respectful, got to be pleasurable for both. Those are the happiest relationships. It matters.
All right. Next one. Should I tell her that I watch porn?
Yes.
I have a feeling half of women are going to... see, this is the double-edged sword. Because every man hears yes, and then... It's like when your mom would tell you when you were a kid, you can tell me what happened. I promise you won't get in trouble. And you go, no, you're going to just yell at me. I'm going to get grounded. And then she'll go, no, you can tell me. I promise. This is safe. I promise I'm not going to get mad. You won't get in trouble. And then you go, I broke that favorite clown statue of yours. And then you're grounded for 2 months. All
right. Well, so maybe the question then, I gather men are saying, should I tell her? Here's the truth, though. If you are not comfortable telling her that you watch porn, that is a sign of a relationship block. That is a wedge in your relationship. Secrets, unless it's a surprise party, are wedges in relationships. And the same way, if she can't tell you or won't tell you about shopping, or that she fantasizes about something kinky, I don't know what, these things that we can't or don't feel comfortable telling our partners are like, they should be red bleepers going, warning, warning, warning. That's an issue. So while I can't tell you, she'll handle it well, what I can tell you is that even if she doesn't handle it well, learning how to handle it together is going to be good for your relationship. And that these are things that should be addressed. If it's not healthy to have people kind of sneaking around and feeling shame about stuff that we shouldn't be ashamed of. You have a libido. Porn is one way that fuels it. Yes, I think you can abuse porn. Yes, I think there can be porn addictions. That's a whole separate thing. But a reasonable use of that is like having a reasonable use of coffee or alcohol or sweets, or just chillaxing time doing absolutely freaking nothing. And you shouldn't have to hide those times from each other.
Okay.
100% agree. Mostly everyone I know watches porn to some degree.
Even the women too.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Even women. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Don't watch it all the time, but I obviously don't.
Right. The same way I don't want you to masturbate all the time. I don't want anything to become an addiction. I want you to have a whole repertoire of fun, sexy, joyful, rewarding things that you and your spouse share And even if you're not both watching the porn together, that you're able to talk about it and that it's something that binds you together. So you could say, oh, wow, I just watched this, blah, blah, blah. It's turned me on so
I do
much
that all
that
the
I
time.
can't wait to talk to you, or I thought you might like it.
The time I send
That's
people
awesome.
I'm seeing porn videos that I like.
Yeah.
Sometimes I get like a sexy response. Sometimes that's like, it's funny. Like, that's too much. I'm going on that one. But,
Right.
you
But
know.
we shouldn't have to keep it in.
No.
Do you tell your wife if you watch porn?
Not really, no. Like, I have before.
Okay, so she
But-
just knows in general, but you don't have to tell her every time.
No.
But okay, but it's not a secret. You're not like, oh, don't look at my computer or
No.
something.
No.
Yeah. That's the problem. It's just like, oh, when you have to live in worry and fear.
And I also
Oh,
think,
it's
like,
not
on
good.
the ladies' side, like, you know, I don't know where this notion comes from. Like, if your guy watches porn, then he's like cheating on you and stuff like that, which I mean, like, obviously each relationship is different. So maybe that is like overstudying it, but I certainly don't see any issues. And it's like, we talk about this a lot, at least me and my friends. There are so many more ways that relationships, especially in the digital age, have like, they're like, what constitutes as cheating or not cheating, like with Instagram, like just sending a DM, is Snapchat cheating, all this kind of stuff. And yeah, those things are a little bit different. But when you're watching someone that guy doesn't know, hopefully never contacts, all that kind of stuff, and it's just for like a reason, I don't see any issue with it. You know?
Yeah,
So-
and I think you bring up a very good point, which is that within every relationship, that you have to talk about what your version of cheating is, because it is no longer, I mean, it was always a little blurry, but it's gotten even more blurry now. There are so many different shades of gray when it comes to that, that you and your partner need to kind of get on the same page. And I know this sounds silly, but I was telling one couple, don't just say it and let it go. Literally, like, people can have a little, each of us should have our own user manual, but we should have a relationship manual that we write things down so we remember, and we can amend them, we can change them. But that way, when somebody says, no, I thought that was cheating, and you say, no, it wasn't, you go back and say, oh, no, you're right. We didn't talk about that. Okay, now let's put it in there. And it just saves that, oh God, I need to know, or you were wrong, or deliberately and stuff. So be aware, because the same thing with self-pleasure. Some people have this I think it's a misguided approach that if somebody self-pleasures, that's cheating. And I think, no, they're just eating a snack and you're not hungry, and that's okay. But so talk about what your version of cheating is, where pornography plays out with it, use things that have come up in both your example, in your past lives and stuff to put down into your little relationship agreement manual, if you will, and something like that. So, but pay attention to that. That's a very good point.
Okay. Number 6, why can't she orgasm?
Oh my God, this is like such a loaded. I feel like we've done a lot of good episodes about this one before. I'm trying to think.
It still comes up. So, okay, so why doesn't she? There's a legion of answers there. But again, let's just go short and sweet. Only 25% of women will orgasm from penetration alone. So just if you're having, quote, sex, going in and out, your cock is going in and out of her vagina, and she's not orgasming, I will tell you, she's just the same as 75% of women. That's actually normal. So then if that's the case, then give her some clitoral stimulation. And maybe that's your first step. But if it's more than that, then maybe she's uptight. Maybe you're not turning her on enough. And I would say men, it's pretty easy. We turn on their body. They get an erection. You go jerk, jerk, jerk. You go up and down on a cock enough. And I say sooner or later, it's going to go and spew. Okay, women, it doesn't work that way. So if you don't actually get her mental head in the game, if you don't get her to forget what she was, the laundry, the job, the kids, the family, whatever stresses, the time, the clock, if you don't get her mentally to join her body, then you're not going to get her to orgasm. So think about that, and that's where you have to basically turn her on and use fantasy, use sexy talk, think about all the 5 senses, and those we've talked about. So there are lots of different ways, but very few people are physically and orgasmic, which means incapable of orgasm. So you certainly can go to a doctor, you can get chemicals checked, blah, blah, blah. But about 90% of the time, it's what you're doing and that it's not enough to actually turn her on in terms of her thoughts, her body, and then her spirit, her willingness to let go.
Okay. All right. So we've got a bunch more of these that we're going to try to blast through here in a second. But guys, girls, poles, holes, whatever you want to be called, if you are listening to us right now, do all of us a favor real quick. Actually, fun side note. I had a boss and friend one time who his wife refers to blowjobs as a favor. So anytime he would say, "Hey, will you do me a favor?" she'd be like, "Okay, sure." Or, "Do you want me to do you a favor?"
And give a blowjob. Yep. That is a good woman.
But yes, do us a favor. Not blowjobs right now. I mean, for your significant other, go for it. Have fun with them. If you're listening to us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or Spreaker, wherever you found us, make sure you subscribe. And also, if you're listening to us, especially on Apple Podcasts, go to the reviews and make sure you rate us 5 stars and leave a review and let more people know where they can find us, because the more people that find us, well, the better sex everybody has. And guess what? We could probably have a much nicer, happier world. So you are promoting world peace and better things if, more people learn about us and have better sex because of us. I mean, if you go to a car salesman who just got a blowjob from his wife last night, he's not going to beat you up over the price as much. You're going to save a couple grand on a car. Look at that.
That is so true. You're absolutely right. Spread love and laughter, and it comes back to you. Comes and comes and comes.
Over and over again. All right, let's blast through a bunch of these real quick because we're starting to run out of time. What makes a man a good kisser?
Okay, Mae West had one of my favorite quotes. A man's kiss is his signature. And so many men are not good kissers,
oh my
right,
God.
Tina?
So many guys are not only not good kissers, they think they're good kissers. I cannot tell you how many times I have told someone, "Hey, why do you do that weird thing with your mouth when you kiss me?" And he's like, "Oh no, like I thought girls love that." I'm like, "No, that's so not true, boy." Oh my God.
Yes, I think. Yeah, I think there are so few people that are really good kissers. It's awful. Oh. It's very painful. And I will tell you, if you're in the dating world, you will not get a second date if you're not a good kisser. And yet nobody will tell you why.
My roommate literally was going out with this guy, fine guy. I don't know if there's a ton of chemistry, all this stuff. She liked him. Went out to a baseball game and they obviously hadn't hooked up or anything. He, kissed her, they started making out, and he was so bad that she just did not want to go out with him again.
Yeah, it is really, really sad. So, okay, so what makes a man a good kisser?
But now that we've scared the shit out of all of you dudes.
Which actually is good because you can improve. Every man, every person can improve and become a very good kisser. I promise. It's not very difficult.
I feel like that's something that as a guy, you don't worry about that as once you reach the age of 16, 17 years old, and in high school you're getting date after date, or you're making out with random girls or hooking up with random girls at that point in time, then you start focusing on, well, how do I get better in bed? You stop, your focus doesn't divert back to, well, I already got the kissing part down because she was willing to have sex with me. You don't go back to, you're not going to, most guys aren't going to take the step back and go, well, am I getting the fundamentals right before I get to the big, am I doing batting practice correct before I can actually step on the field, which kissing is batting practice.
Also,
okay, but if you're not getting as much sexy as you want, one thing to consider is, are you kissing very often?
Yes,
and if you're trying to kiss and she's not responding to it, my guess is you're not kissing her the way she wants to be kissed, and that's a problem.
Also, there's nothing it's so fun just to make out with someone.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah, so if you can't do that because someone's shitty at making kissing and stuff, I don't know.
Yeah. So here's the quick and easy answer. And then I'm going to put, there are 2 blogs I did at Darling Way. One is about, it's Kissing 101. And the other one is how to teach someone to be a good kisser. So go check out those blogs. They're short and sweet, but I promise you they make a difference. And I learned actually how to teach someone to be a good kisser because I was dating a guy I really liked. And I didn't like the way he kissed. And I really was I don't want to go out with him again. I don't want to kiss him again. So I was going to break up. And then I was like, no, let's see what I can do. And in 20 minutes, transformed his kissing. The fact is I want you to think every time you kiss someone, I want you to think of it like stating a sentence. I want you to start and finish, like with kind of a closed mouth, if you will, and continue. And I want you to make a point. I want you to know exactly what it is you're saying, because the way I taught this guy was very easy. I said, what are you trying to tell me with your kisses? And he said, well, I don't know. I said, well, then how am I supposed to know how to respond? And then he was like, oh, right. Because your kiss should say, oh, I love you. Your kiss should say, I want to fuck you right now. You are so fucking hot today. Or your kiss can say, I love you, but I'm angry at you. Right? Your kiss can say, I'm sorry. Your kiss can say, I just really deeply, passionately love you right now. Like all of these different things. That's what your kiss should say. Your kiss should convey some information that she should be able to understand. And if you want to play a fun game, truly just play, okay, what am I telling you now? And see if she gets it. Because I promise you, once she gets it, your kisses will lead to what you want. It will be tons of fun. So check out those blogs. But again, if she doesn't like really want to be kissing on you all the time, change the way you kiss and use it for her. Maybe she's not a good kisser or she doesn't know what to do either. And again, it's because she doesn't know what you're saying and she doesn't know what to say back.
Also, just to point out, I feel like a lot of dudes who I've met out before have used these, like, not that yours aren't great, these like weird like things that they may have heard from other people or tips and stuff, but they don't really know what, like, they're not using it correctly, or those things just don't work.
Right.
And I think that
that's why you have to understand. That's what I'm saying. You have to understand what it is you're trying to tell someone, or you're not going to do it. But
the overthinking thing can also be then like a little bit like, I think if you that's where a lot of issue, like guys who are overthinking like making out, and then they like do this weird stuff, and you're just like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, just like make out. But at the same time, like, we are shitting on guys a lot. I know that there are lots of girls too who aren't good kissers.
Terrible.
So.
And this is true, by the way, even in the swingers community. And these people are having lots of sex with lots of people. And it is amazing that the biggest complaints are somebody's really bad at going down and somebody is a terrible kisser. And yet, again, in the swinging world, you're just like, okay, well, we won't do that again, even if they're hot and beautiful. But yeah, I don't want you to overthink. But I do want you to be clear. The same way, what should happen is just as easily as it is for us to communicate with words. That's what your kisses should do. So you're not just trying to follow a rote, oh, do this, A, B, C, D. It's like, how do I feel? Oh, let my kiss reflect how I feel. And that way you get out of the overkiss. But I will tell you that I think the biggest mistake is like this big going in with an open mouth.
Oh yeah.
It's just like, like a fish face. And it's like, no, like it's just gross. It's like, ugh.
The number one thing is like when you, open your mouth, don't close it, and then like move your tongue around in the mouth. Like you're like, I don't know what the fuck where this was learned. But because
they don't know what to do with their tongue. They don't know. They know they're supposed to put their tongue in the mouth, but nobody's thinking about why are they doing it.
Yeah.
And so it's just aimless. And that's the thing. It feels aimless. And that's not fun. So I think they should generally start with like mostly a closed mouth, though, right? Like, or at least your lips very close to each other, if not totally closed. I'm not saying that. And then finish. Don't just pull away with both our mouths open and drool coming out. That's yucky.
It's more like a sucking, like it's not like a two mouths on each other and then you're like breathing air into the other mouth. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And if you start with closed, you can nibble on lips. You can just lick around lips. You can tease. There's so many different ways. Literally, you can like make love to a mouth.
Right.
Agreed. It's amazing.
Okay.
Aaron, are you going to go home and ask your wife how good of a kisser you are now?
I mean, I'm going to ask her again. I've asked her before in the past, but when you say make love to a mouth, I mean, that's just another euphemism for a blowjob.
Yeah,
so,
yes.
But
well,
yeah,
we're going down on a pussy, I say.
That.
Right, make out with a pussy.
So, all right, let's blast through the last couple of these. Why do women always go to the bathroom after sex?
Such a good question. And before. And like, I think that before, there's two, like, I would say the after one's the most curious one. The before, usually it's just because you have to pee And sometimes it can be like a little bit uncomfortable, like when you're having sex, like the sensations, unless you like that, sensations can be like heightened, so it makes you feel like you have to pee more.
Right. And if you pee before you have sex, then if you get that urge and you're a squirter and stuff, then you know it's not pee, it's squirt.
Yeah.
So
I think that one's pretty self-explanatory. But the after, I mean, they're both self-explanatory. I would say that you can take the after.
Well, so the after is because peeing after penetrative sex or any sort of involvement down there helps flush out the urethra, and that means that germs get flushed out. Otherwise, UTIs, urinary tract infections, are common for women after having lots of sex, especially on honeymoons, for example, because you just stir up a lot of just different bacteria and stuff, and a little germ in the urethra just can go a short distance up to the bladder. And once it's there, then it becomes a urinary tract infection, which is really horribly painful. So when we pee after having sexy fun, we're basically cleaning the pipes, if you will, and getting rid of germs and minimizing or lessening our chances of getting a urinary tract infection afterwards.
Okay. A slight detour again, rabbit hole.
Yeah.
What about in the ways of or using it or trying to procreate, trying to get pregnant through sex? Doesn't that... No. I know it's two separate, completely different holes. I get that.
Right. Well, some people don't. So let's be clear of that. The urethra is the tube. There's an opening that is above. It's below the clitoris and above the vaginal opening. Okay. That's where pee. So the urethra goes from that opening through the urethral tube to the bladder, and that's where pee comes out. But also that's where squirting fluid comes out, including the prostatic fluid that even women have a little bit of. And then the vagina is the big cavity underneath where the cock goes in and a baby comes out.
Yes.
So for procreative, you're trying to get the sperm in the vagina and then encouraging it to sort of flow upwards. So you're right. So some people then will be told to keep their legs in the air and keep their hips up to try and, gravity flow that sperm, in which case then they may not be told to go pee. But otherwise, pee isn't going to flush that out. It's going to flush out sperm that's just at the edge, right?
I get
just
the part
of
of
drips
flushing it out, but
again, then you wipe and then you wipe up sperm. So you might be told not to do that, and perhaps then you're just increasing your chance of procreation versus minimizing your risk of urinary tract infection.
Yeah, I mean that was my question, is because I don't know. Again, I don't have those. I mean, everybody has pelvic floor muscles, and I know what it's like to, guys think about when you have to really take a piss and you can't do it, like you have to hold it. Like, men and women both have that muscle.
Yeah.
But is women's muscles, like, are women have strong enough muscles to pee but not let cum out? Because I have a feeling you're just eventually it's just going to fall out in... You're not ruining your chances,
right? But you are minimizing
your chances,
right? Because you're letting things flow the opposite
especially
way.
If you're a couple that's
wiping and stuff.
As we've seen a lot of today, is a lot of couples are having trouble, trying to, and I feel like you at that point in time you have to weigh your options. Do I risk the UTI?
Everyone gets UTIs. They're not that. I mean, if you're truly trying to get pregnant, probably then UTIs are the maybe simplest things to fix.
Right. So you're focused on the getting pregnant rather than UTI.
You're not gonna.
Yeah, but that's why. And so men, that should be a given. And in fact, if a woman, because it sucks to have to get up when you really want to stay there and be part of things. So, but you
don't have to do it immediately.
Remember,
I don't. Also, though,
the sooner the better.
Oh, really?
Because the reason women get UTI so often is because our urethra is just not very long. So the germ doesn't have that far to travel. And so it doesn't take as long. So really the sooner, the better.
Yeah.
Just quite frankly. But so men help women remember this. And especially if you're with somebody who has a history of UTIs. So.
Okay. Well, let's knock out this final question before we get out of here. Are there certain ways to manscape? Do you want me to shave completely bald, to trim? What looks best manscaping-wise to a woman? Okay,
I'm sorry, but I do take some pleasure after all the years women have spent worried about what to do with our pussy hair. The fact that men are now worried about what to do with their hair, I'm like, see, okay, paybacks.
Which is funny because just a few episodes ago, Tina, I mean, it's now been a couple months, but Tina explained, women are growing the bush back.
Yes.
But I don't know any man who would go, I really have it. Like, I don't know any woman who would, guys, okay, I thought about this the other day. Sorry, sidetrack. A guy is not going to see a woman with a bush and go, ugh. most of the time it's, wow, there's a pussy. Fuck yes. Like, we don't care if it's hairless, hair like trimmed, whatever.
Yeah.
I feel like women are going to look at a guy, if he's got this gigantic fucking 1970s bush over his dick, they're going to go, oh, come on, man. Like, they would rather a guy be manscaped. Like, they're more picky about their guy being manscaped, at least to a certain extent, than guys would give a damn about women being.
Ooh, this is like the ultimate, like, progressive. Like, we are now on the reverse side of this.
But see, I don't know why it's a reverse thing.
I want to hear. So, listeners, please let us know. This, in all sincerity, I want to know. What do you think? And let us know if you're male, female, and what you're thinking about the other, and what would really turn you off. I mean, you tell us what turns us on too, but tell us the limits. I think that for women looking at a guy, I think part of it is, again, we just don't see as many cocks. And so we're not taught, we don't grow up thinking, ooh, a cock, that's a total sex symbol. We are taught, oh, a guy with a vacuum cleaner, that's a sex symbol. It's kind of crazy. But I think maybe if it's so overgrown and it doesn't look, if it looks unkempt, I think that's the feeling of, oh, this guy's just not, he doesn't take care of himself. He doesn't kind of look clean. I don't know. Doesn't look like he's paying attention to what's going down there. And I don't want to wander and find something weird. So I think some cleaning up, some trimming has always actually, I think, been appropriate for men. I think, don't you?
Yeah. I would say, like, keep it trim, keep it generally clean. I would say the same thing. Well, I don't know. I don't know if men like love the full bush. Like, I don't, but I think that we are in, like, especially with like my generation and stuff, I think it's less and less of an issue if it's like, we've kind of evened it out. Like, it doesn't grow super huge, but like, you keep, you know, you don't have to shave it. Just like clean it up sometimes. Like,
after so many years of now like shaving and waxing and whatever, I can't grow a full bush.
Yeah,
and
sure.
that happens. So women, pay attention early, right, and decide what you're doing early, because it just does. But men, have you ever seen a guy who's shaved it all?
No, I've never actually hooked up with it. I mean, obviously in porn and stuff, but like I've never seen that in like real life. So no,
I have.
I mean, I don't know, like what I would say. Like, it would definitely be different for sure.
I think in some ways, I mean, if you have a partner, ask. But in some ways, we were kind of like, oh, is that weird? Well, if you're talking about oral.
Yeah,
it is actually really nice to go down and have no hair to worry about getting in your teeth.
Like with balls,
yeah.
Like, yeah, I kind of like it when they're a little bit like smoother trimmed, just because like sometimes they can be so hairy.
Yes,
and you're just like, okay, well, I'm just like sucking on hair, and
and you're getting a flossing when you're down there, and that's just harder. And it's hard to be enthusiastic or to seem enthusiastic when you're busy trying to pull the hairs out all the time.
Okay, no, yeah. So I don't know if but anyways, like, I think it's and even with girls now, like I know with women, obviously we're talking about women, but like a lot of girls now do like the laser hair removal, but they only do it on like their bikini lines, which is really what they're like worried about. Because one thing I think with women, especially in the summer, like you don't want to go out in a bikini and have like a full like there's no girl really I know who's gonna be doing that. Like,
but this is about manscaping.
I know, I get it, but I'm saying like again, it goes to the thing where it's like, I think that as long as like it's nice and a little bit neat and like, you know. So
I think men have a lot of latitude, but I think you should do some maintenance, and then you can figure out between your preferences and then if you have a partner, their preferences. But again, it's so easy because if you keep some hair and then you find a partner who really wants it all gone, it just takes you about no time. But be very careful, because I know that men who have tried to shave their balls, that can be very painful if you get a cut down there. Just FYI. So
that's why, again,
go slow.
You go slow. Use. Okay.
Did you try a hair removal stuff?
So yeah, this is one of the. Wow, this has been eons ago. It feels like, because you realize we've been doing this for over half a year now. Like, we're more than halfway to our first anniversary of this show. I talked about, there was a hair removal cream that was pointed in my direction and said, hey, try this. It works. Surefire, blah, 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 blah.
Really? It wasn't like Nair, or it wasn't one that's been around for women?
Okay. No, it was a women's hair removal thing. But I had heard, hey, you can use this on your balls, but because it's made for women, it will get rid of the hair, but it won't burn like Nair would or anything like that.
Wow.
Because anybody who's used, like, I've used hair removal cream on my shoulders and stuff for the summer, that burns, and it takes a day or two to recover and stuff like that. I wouldn't imagine putting that shit on my balls, because God, no. But this stuff, so I ordered it, I tried it when I had run out of razors, and it was minimal at best. If I had to put a percentage, like, it took off maybe 2% of the hair.
Oh, it just didn't work.
Nope.
Oh.
And it's not like it had been months since I had shaved my balls. It was literally just, 2 weeks, and it's usually a weekly thing for me. So there was hair there, but I tried and it didn't work as well. And as soon as I finished, I walked over to my wife and I was like, all right, put it on the grocery list. I need new razors and I need more shaving cream, because this isn't going to work. Like, I can't keep using hair removal cream that doesn't work. I'd rather just shave, and every now and then if I do nick myself, it happens. Ouch. You just get over it.
Yeah.
But
you can also wax, but waxing is painful.
Yeah,
and it's hard to find a waxer. You need to ask first, because a lot of the female waxers will not wax a man because they've been too many have been inappropriate. So, but heads up. So
yeah, I wouldn't go for waxing either. Yeah. But okay, so
but definitely trimming. Okay, that's.
And if you're going to shave your balls, guys, this is my steadfast endorsement. Use the sensitive skin shaving cream. Use all women's stuff too. Women's sensitive skin shaving cream, and then women's razors, because women's razors are softer and the blades get better because they're usually trying to protect more sensitive areas like bikini lines and stuff like that. Whereas a man's face razor, yes, it has more blades and stuff like that, but it's going to me, it's not as sensitive with the area.
Oh, and it's funny because I usually think that men's razors are sharper and more effective, so I prefer men's razors to women's, which is interesting. I don't know.
But again, when you're shaving, you're talking about shaving your legs.
No. I'm saying pussies, just because I want it to get. I want to go.
See, I have better.
Once, so.
I mean, maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm the fucking weird anomaly, but I have better luck with women's razors. I have cut myself more with men's razors than I ever have with women's razors.
Wow. Well, I don't know, but I will say also that there is this new cream called Coochie cream, Coochie.
That's how you would spell
or Y.
it.
I can't remember. Coochie cream. It's a shave gel, and people have, in fact, Fred and AJ or Fred on the ESPN.
Right?
Yeah,
COOCHY.
Yeah, they liked it, or maybe it was AJ who was shaving his head. But anyway, it's gotten some really great reviews, and absolutely, you can try and go do it. If you go to sarahsecret.com and use the code BethDarling, you can get 20% off your first order. So if you order some Coochie cream from them and try it, but definitely for women, it's a nicer, smoother, easier, more sensitive.
Scented like a frosted cake. Oh
they have all different flavors, but they're really good for men too. So to me, I don't use it on my legs because it's more expensive, and so I just basically keep it for my pussy, and do find it worthwhile. Okay. So go check it out, and again, let us know what you do. But yeah. So
any type of manscaping you're gonna do, just do it gingerly. Be very careful, because it hurts when you nick yourself. It really does.
Yeah, and use a trimmer. If you haven't done anything, use a trimmer first before you use a razor or any of that hair removal.
Make sure your trimmer your clippers are well oiled too, because if they're not well oiled, they will just pull the hair right off too. I've had plenty of mishaps with this kind of stuff before. So
there you go.
Yeah.
All right, and I know we hear this all the damn time, but I'm going to throw it out there. We did a whole show. Do I measure up? But the last question that we always hear, men want to hear from women, is, am I too small? And I would just tell you, no, you're not too small. If you are really small, then find cool, fun, different ways to entertain you and her. But go check out our previous podcast called Do You Measure Up? Because that was all about cock size and everything. So I know it's a big issue for men. I'm not. It's just that's why we did a whole episode for you. So, all right. I think, is that everything that we've got right now? Well,
I have a feeling we're going to get 50,000 more questions eventually, that we'll just have to have another episode. Maybe we'll do this twice a year where we just go and hammer out on questions. But
yeah. So let us know what you need more of. Go check out sexyedschool.com for everything about oral cunnilingus, blowjobs. Go the kissing blogs. Yeah. God,
those will be down in the episode description if you want the kissing blogs and everything like that.
Yes.
You'll be set up.
Please give us a review. Let us know how we're doing, because we wish you'd all be here with us in this room when we record. But the next best thing is from your emails and from your reviews, and we thank you so much, because You mean everything to us.
Yep. Find us on Facebook at Come With Us Podcast, on Instagram at Come With Us Podcast, on Twitter at Come With Us Pod, or like Beth just said, email us, comewithusconfessions@gmail.com. Questions, thoughts, concerns, anything that crosses your mind, hit us up.
Yes. All right. It's been so wonderful. Thank you so much for being part of our Come With Us podcast. When you come, we're happy. Big hugs, big kisses. And I'm Beth Darling, your sexy genius. Thank you so much. And thank you guys, Aaron and Tina. We will see y'all next week.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Come With Us podcast. Be sure to follow us on social media at Come With Us Podcast and send in your questions, comments, and confessions to comewithusconfessions@gmail.com. Until next time, keep it fun, flirty, and naughty.